Welcome to Somatic Shadow Work for Sleep, a meditation series that recalibrates the thoughts, actions, and habits that govern your daily life. Your guide in these meditations is Seth Cherepak, author of Awaken Your Shadow and founder of somatic axiology. These meditations speak to your dominant form of intelligence, known by cognitive neuroscience as value intelligence. Value intelligence, or VQ, operates upstream of your intellectual intelligence, IQ, and your emotional intelligence, EQ. VQ is the decentralized intelligence sprawling throughout your entire being, like an underground root system feeding every branch above it and the fruit it bears. VQ is the silent architect of the thoughts, decisions, and actions that seem to be under your conscious control, until they're tested by the pressures, challenges, and opportunities of your daily life. This is how somatic axiology succeeds in delivering on the promises made by the schools of New Age energy healing, EFT, breathwork, chakra work, sound healing, which address mainly only your EQ, and the school of conventional methods, NLP, positive affirmations, and mindset programs, which address mainly your IQ. Somatic axiology speaks to your VQ quietly and intentionally transforming the subconscious signal that governs them both, so your thoughts grow clearer and your feelings steadier. Listen to this in a place where your attention is free to shift from the worries and cares of the external world into the rich architecture of your internal world, where your transformation begins. In this episode, Awakening Your Charismatic Self, Seth guides you on a journey into the part of you that learned to perform, to manage every impression, and to hide the real voice behind a polished one. This is your first step toward being seen and heard as you truly are, instead of as the character you built to stay safe.
We will begin our journey with 4 deep breaths. Breathe in quickly, feeling your belly expand. Hold as your body begins to relax and your mind begins its descent. Breathe out, feeling your body relax and your mind descending deeper. Breathe in again, feeling your belly expand more and more, and hold. Breathe out slowly as your body relaxes more and more and your mind descends deeper and deeper. Breathe in again, your belly expanding more and more and more. Hold. Now begin the slow release, your body relaxing more and more, your mind descending deeper and deeper and deeper. Breathe in a final time, your belly expanding fully. Hold. Now breathe slowly out, your body relaxing completely, your mind descending deeper and deeper and deeper, all the way to the deepest part, the part beyond your thoughts, beyond your feelings, and beyond your conscious reach. You are now completely relaxed and at peace. It's late, and the day is finally over. The last meeting has ended. The last message has been answered. The last call has been returned. The last room you walked into has emptied out. And the man they saw in those rooms is lying here in the dark, trying to remember if anything they saw was actually him. This is not self-help. This is somatic shadow work, not a course on confidence, not a workshop on charisma, not another framework for showing up more powerfully in the world. Somatic shadow work is the descent beneath the performance, into the body of a man who has been wearing a face for so long that he is no longer sure what is underneath it. So let us go there slowly. Notice your face right now, not your expression. The muscles, feel your jaw, that dull, deep fatigue along the hinge, the faint ache where the muscle meets the bone just below your ear, the strange tiredness that does not go away even when you are not speaking. That jaw has been holding a smile in place all day, or a serious face, or a thoughtful face, or whatever version of your face the rooms today required. And the muscle has been straining quietly beneath every one of those expressions, because none of them were the natural resting shape of your face. Now feel your cheeks, the small muscles around the mouth, the ones that lift in a smile, the ones that pull in a laugh. There is a faint, vibrating exhaustion in them. You have not noticed it consciously for years, but it is there. The exhaustion of small muscles asked to perform an expression they were not generating from the inside. Now your eyes, even with the lids closed, even in the dark, there is a low pressure behind them, a subtle forward-leaning focus that did not stand down when the last meeting ended. The eyes of a man still performing in his sleep, still presenting, still managing, still on stage in a theater that has long since emptied out. This is the body of a charismatic man in shadow. The face has become a costume that does not come off. You are very good at it. That is what makes this hard. You did not become this man because you were weak. You became this man because you were gifted. You were born with something other men did not have. You knew even as a boy how to read the room. You knew how to give the room what it wanted. You knew how to walk in and make people feel a little better than they felt before you arrived. You knew how to be the version of yourself a particular moment required. Funny here, serious there, warm with this person, sharp with that one, confident in this meeting, humble in that one. You did not think of it as performance at first. You thought of it as social intelligence, and it was partly, but it was something else too. It was the slow, unconscious construction of a person built specifically to be loved by the rooms you needed to walk through. And the rooms loved him. He was hired. He was promoted. He was invited. He was followed. He was praised. He was admired. He was the man everyone wanted at the table. And the more they loved him, the more you played him, until somewhere along the way, he stopped being a role you put on for certain rooms and became the face you wore everywhere, including in front of the mirror. This is the great trap of the charismatic self in shadow. You did not lose yourself in one dramatic moment. You lost yourself in 10,000 small successes. Every time the performance worked, the performance grew a little more permanent. Every time the room responded to the curated version, the uncurated version retreated a little further into the back of the house. Every time you walked out of a meeting having said exactly what they wanted to hear, some smaller, quieter version of you that had wanted to say something else filed another receipt of self-erasure, and the man they loved kept getting more polished. And the man underneath the polish kept getting harder to find. Now think about your day, not as a list of events, as a sequence of identities. There was the morning version of you, the early call version, the version for the team meeting, the version for the client, the version for the friend you had lunch with, the version for the difficult conversation in the afternoon, the version for your wife when you got home, the version for the children before bed, the version for the message you posted after dinner, each one carefully calibrated, each one believable, each one functional, and each one consuming a small invisible amount of life. You have come to think of this as adulthood. You have come to think of this as the normal cost of being a competent man in a complex world. You have come to think of this as being well adjusted. The witness sitting quietly behind your eyes can see something more precise. You are not well adjusted. You are in costume, and the costume is more than a face. The costume is a posture, a tone of voice, a vocabulary, a set of opinions calibrated to the people you are sitting with. A wardrobe, a car, a house, a version of your story you have told so many times you no longer remember which parts of it are true and which parts are the polished version that travels better at dinner parties. And the cost of the costume is in your body tonight. Feel it. The exhaustion that no amount of sleep undoes. The depletion that arrives at the end of every social day, even the good ones. The strange, hollow tiredness that no one around you understands, because from the outside you look like a man who is thriving. You are not thriving. You are performing thriving, and the difference is killing you slowly in places no one can see. Notice your chest. There is a particular constriction high in the sternum, not the bracing of the insecure self. This is different. This is the chest of a man who has been speaking words that were not entirely his for years. The muscles around your voice have been straining quietly every time you spoke today, because the version of you that was speaking was always slightly to the left of the version of you that was actually there, and the gap between them has to be held open by the body. The body has been doing that for so long. It is so tired. Now notice your stomach, that low, faint nausea that has been your companion for years and that you have learned not to name. You feel it most acutely in two situations. One, when you have just finished a performance that went very well, and the room is applauding the man you presented, and somewhere inside you, in the place where the food sits, there is a small, dim sickness that has no obvious reason to be there. Two, when someone praises you for a quality you know in your stomach is part of the costume, and you have to absorb the praise as if it belongs to you, while the part of you who does not have that quality, who has only learned to perform it, quietly turns away inside. That is the body's verdict on the performance. The body knows the truth. The body has always known, and the body has been registering for years every gap between who you are and who you are pretending to be. And here is the part that you have never said out loud. Even when no one is watching, you are still performing. You stand in front of the bathroom mirror and you fix your face, not for anyone, for yourself. You walk through your house and you carry yourself as if there is a camera on you. You sit alone in your office and you compose the inner monologue as if someone might one day overhear it. You eat alone in a restaurant and you make sure the way you are eating is acceptable to imaginary observers. You scroll your own social media and you look at your own face the way a stranger might, calibrating, refining, adjusting the public version of you in your own mind. The audience has gone inside. This is the most subtle and devastating mutation of the charismatic self in shadow. You no longer need an audience to perform. The audience has been installed. You watch yourself from outside yourself all day long, critiquing, optimizing, polishing the persona, making sure that even in your private hours, the brand of you is being maintained. And the man underneath the brand, the unphotographed, unedited, unrehearsed man, has not been allowed out of the basement in years. He is down there tonight, still in there, pacing, waiting. The witness can hear him faintly when the house is quiet enough. He is the part of you that has unpolished opinions. He is the part of you with the embarrassing tastes. He is the part of you with the unflattering questions. He is the part of you with the laugh that is too loud, the grief that is too raw, the anger that is too direct, the love that is too earnest, the curiosity that does not match your professional positioning. He is the part of you that does not fit your brand. And so you have kept him hidden, not just from the world, from yourself, because to let him out would mean disrupting a persona the world has rewarded you for handsomely. And here is the final hidden cost of the curated life. You no longer feel loved. You are loved. People love the man you present. That part is real. But the love does not reach you. It cannot. Because the man being loved is not entirely the man receiving the love. The man receiving the love is the one in the basement. And he never gets to come up to the dinner table. He never gets to be the one in the room. He never gets to be the one anyone is actually applauding. So he sits down there in the dark, watching the brand collect the affection that was never meant for it. Hungry for something the polished version of you cannot eat on his behalf. And this is the great quiet grief of the charismatic self in shadow. You have a life full of people who love a version of you, and not one of them, you suspect, has ever actually met the man inside the costume, including you. Stay there tonight. Do not reach for the phone. Do not check what people are saying about your latest post. Do not refresh the metrics. Do not perform yourself one more time for the imaginary audience installed inside your skull. Just feel the jaw, the cheeks, the eyes, the chest, the stomach, and the man in the basement who has been waiting his entire adult life to hear the footsteps of the brand finally coming down the stairs to find him. Tonight those footsteps begin, because tonight for the first time the witness has finally agreed to ask the question the brand has spent 30 years avoiding. Who would you be if no one was watching? And what was promised to you the day you first learned to wear a face for the room? So let us go back before the brand, back before the title, back before the carefully composed face you have worn into 10,000 rooms, back to the boy you used to be. Because the costume in your jaw tonight was first sewn onto a small body a very long time ago by a child who was simply trying to be loved correctly. Picture him, the boy version of you, and notice something specific about him. He had a face, a real face, an unguarded face, a face that moved as the inside of him moved. When he was happy, his happiness came out his eyes. When he was sad, his sadness shaped his mouth without permission. When he was angry, the muscles around his cheeks tightened on their own. When he was confused, his eyebrows furrowed without him having to decide. He did not perform. He was simply visible. And then he met the world, not all at once. In small lessons, he was excited about something, truly excited. He came running into the room with the news of his small joy, and the room did not match him. The room was tired. The room was busy. The room was unhappy about something else. The room said in one form or another, "Not now." The boy's face fell, the real face, the one that did not know how to hide. And he learned a small lesson. He learned that his unfiltered enthusiasm was a problem for the people who were supposed to love him. He learned that there were times for his real face, and times when his real face was inconvenient. He was sad about something, genuinely sad, and the adults around him did not know what to do with sadness in a small boy. So they told him to cheer up. They told him it was not that bad. They told him to put on a smile. They told him that boys did not cry. They told him that nobody likes a sad face. And he learned a slightly larger lesson. He learned that his sadness was a problem. That the muscles of his real face, when they shaped themselves into grief, would cost him connection. And that he could buy connection back by reshaping his face into something the room could tolerate. He smiled when he did not feel like smiling, and the room softened. The smiles came back. The praise returned. The cookies appeared. The cuddles resumed. The lesson landed in his body. Performing the right face restores love. He was angry about something. Genuinely angry. Justifiably angry. A real anger that any honest adult would have recognized as the right response to what had just happened to him. And the room did not validate the anger. The room said, "Do not be like that." The room said, "Do not raise your voice." The room said, "We do not act this way." The room said, "Calm down before we can talk about this." And the boy noticed something. The room was not actually responding to his anger. The room was responding to the shape of his face when he was angry. If he could keep his face quiet, even when he was furious inside, the room would treat him as the good kind of boy. And so he began to separate the face from the feeling. This is where the first split happened. The face he showed the room, and the boy underneath who was actually living the experience, became two different things. At first, this was a small trick, a clever little tool he used in certain difficult moments, a skill that helped him navigate the unpredictable adults in his life. But the trick worked too well. The rooms loved the curated face, loved it consistently, loved it more than they had loved the real face. The curated face made them comfortable. The curated face never inconvenienced them. The curated face matched their preferred version of how things should be. And the boy, being a small student of social reality, noticed that the curated face was producing better outcomes than the real one. So he kept using it more often, in more rooms, for more kinds of moments, until somewhere around age 8 or 9 or 10, the curated face became his default, and the real face became something that only came out in private. In his room with the door closed, in the bathroom looking at himself in the mirror, in the strange raw moments when no adult was within range. And every year he aged, the real face came out a little less, and the curated face refined itself a little more. This is the first wound of the charismatic self, the split between the inside and the outside, and the world only ever paid the outside. Now watch what happened to the gift. Because some of you were not just adaptive, some of you were unusually charismatic from the start. You had a quality even at 6, even at 7, even at 8, that other children did not have. A quality that made adults turn their heads. A quality that made strangers tell your parents what a special boy you were. Maybe it was a smile. Maybe it was a way of speaking. Maybe it was a quickness in your eyes. Maybe it was a gentleness or a confidence or a warmth that did not seem to belong to a body that small. And the world noticed, and the world rewarded it, and the boy, who had already learned that the curated face was the currency of love, discovered something even more powerful. His natural charisma, when channeled through the curated face, became almost impossibly potent. Adults stopped what they were doing. Other kids followed him without quite knowing why. Teachers gave him extra time. Parents told their own children to be more like him. He could enter a room and shift its temperature in 30 seconds. This was real. This is the great irony of the charismatic self. The gift is not a lie. The charisma you carry is real. The presence is real. The ability to move a room is real. But the gift in shadow did not get integrated with the boy underneath. It got harnessed by the curated face. And once a real gift gets harnessed by a curated face, the curated face becomes almost unstoppable, because now you are not just performing, you are performing with genuine power behind the performance. And the rooms cannot tell the difference. And eventually you cannot tell the difference either. This is where the mass contract is signed. The mass contract is the deepest contract of the charismatic self. It says, my real face is not safe to bring into rooms. My curated face is welcomed. My gifts will only be received when channeled through the curated face. Therefore, I will live primarily in the curated face, and I will keep the real face as a private artifact that I show occasionally to no one in particular. The boy signs this contract over and over. Every time he is rewarded for performing, every time he is corrected for being real, every time he succeeds with the curated face when the real face would have failed, every time he loses something by attempting honesty when adjustment would have served him. And he gets very good at it. School rewards this. School is in many ways a laboratory for the mass contract. The boy who can sit still when he wants to move, who can smile when he is sad, who can be polite when he is bored, who can perform engagement when he is exhausted, who can adjust his vocabulary to the audience, is rewarded with grades, praise, leadership roles, and the affection of adults. The boy who cannot or will not perform these adjustments is medicated, disciplined, held back, pushed aside. The system is engineered for the curated face. You did exactly what the system asked of you, and the system paid you generously, and then you entered adulthood, and the adult world is not just a laboratory for the mass contract. The adult world is its industrial application. Now the curated face is monetized. Now the curated face is your professional brand. Now the curated face is your dating profile. Now the curated face is your social media feed. Now the curated face is your public-facing persona on every platform that has come to define adult identity. And the rewards have grown along with the curation. Promotions, income, followers, influence, sexual access, social authority, invitations to rooms the real boy would never have been admitted to. The mass contract has paid out spectacularly, and the boy underneath has been quietly demoted in every successful year of your life. This is the great quiet betrayal of the charismatic self in shadow. You have spent your life trading more and more of him for higher and higher returns on the curated face, and every reward has reinforced the contract. Until now, until tonight, until this particular hour, in this particular dark, in this particular bed, when something underneath the curated face is beginning to refuse the contract. He is tired. The boy in the basement is so tired. Tired the way only a self that has been edited for 40 years can be tired. He is not asking to overthrow the curated face. He is not asking you to burn down the brand. He is not asking you to embarrass yourself in front of your career. He is asking in a voice almost too quiet to hear, to be let upstairs. Just sometimes, just in some rooms, just to a few people, just enough that he stops being entirely fictional in his own life. He is asking to be a person, not a brand, not a curated face. A person with a real face, sometimes excited, sometimes tired, sometimes sad, sometimes confused, sometimes angry, sometimes wrong, sometimes earnest in a way that does not photograph well, sometimes uncool, sometimes ordinary, sometimes weird, sometimes simply human in a way that no brand can hold. The witness hears him tonight, and the witness knows something the curated face has been refusing to acknowledge. The boy in the basement is the source of the gift, not the costume. The boy. The charisma the curated face has been monetizing for 40 years, originated in him, in his unfiltered presence, in his unguarded eyes, in the unedited current of life that flowed through him before anyone taught him to perform. The mask did not give you the charisma. The mask has been borrowing it from him. And the longer you keep him in the basement, the dimmer the gift becomes. Because charisma without presence is just performance. And performance, eventually, even the audience can feel. This is why your magnetism has been quietly diminishing in the last few years. This is why the rooms do not respond to you the way they used to. This is why the people closest to you have begun to feel a strange, polite distance from you that you cannot account for. It is not that you have lost your gift. It is that the gift has been increasingly disconnected from the person it was supposed to come through. And tonight, in the honest dark, the boy in the basement is finally close enough to the surface to be seen. So come back to now. Back to the man in the dark room. Back to the bed. Back to the body still wearing the costume a small boy first sewed onto it 40 years ago. Because the boy who learned to perform grew up. He left the playground. He left the classroom. He left the house where his real face was first rejected. He built a life of his own. A successful one, a visible one. And he carried the mask contract with him into every room. And tonight, we are going to look at what that contract has actually cost him. Start with the obvious. The brand. You have one. You may not call it that, but you have one. A consistent presentation of self that you carry into the world. A voice you use in public that is slightly different from the voice you would use if no one were listening. A wardrobe that signals something specific. A vocabulary calibrated to your audience. A set of opinions safe enough to publish. A version of your story you have told so many times you no longer hear yourself telling it. This brand is doing the work that the boy used to do at the dinner table. Adjusting, reading, performing, earning love by being whatever the room currently rewards. Only now the rooms are larger, and the rewards are bigger, and the consequences for breaking character are higher than they have ever been. And so the brand has fused to your face, not just in your professional life, everywhere. Watch yourself this week. Watch yourself walk into a room. Notice how the body adjusts before you have consciously decided anything. The shoulders set. The chin lifts slightly. the voice changes pitch. The pace of speech accelerates or slows depending on the audience. The vocabulary upgrades or downgrades to match. The face arranges itself into the expression that has been most rewarded in this kind of room. This is not something you decide to do. This is what your body has been trained to do automatically for 40 years. And here is the part that has begun to disturb you. You can no longer tell where the brand ends and you begin. Watch yourself with your closest friends. The brand should not be there, not with them. Not at this hour of your life. But it is a lighter version of it, maybe. A more relaxed cut of the costume, but still a presentation. You tell the story the way the audience expects to hear it. You make the joke they expect from you. You give the opinion that fits the version of yourself they have already approved. You stay inside the lines of the man they have already met. And the small, quiet things, the boy in the basement thoughts, the half-formed admissions, the embarrassments you have not earned the right to share even with the people closest to you. Stay underneath the floorboards. Watch yourself with your wife, or your partner, or whoever you sleep beside. The brand is supposed to be off duty here. This is the inner sanctum. This is the place where the costume is supposed to come off. But notice how often it doesn't. Notice the version of yourself you give her at dinner. The version of yourself you give her in the car. The version of yourself you give her when she asks how your day was. The version of yourself you give her when she asks the harder question, "How are you, really?" And you produce the answer that matches the brand, not the answer that comes from underneath it. She knows. She does not always have language for it. She does not always confront you about it, but she knows. She has known for years that there is a man inside you she has not been allowed to meet. And the loneliness she has been quietly carrying because of that is one of the great unspoken wounds of intimate life with the charismatic self in shadow. Watch yourself with your children. This is the most painful one. Because you love them, there is no question that you love them. But notice the version of you that is present in the room when they are the good father version, the patient version, the wise version, the man you want them to remember when they are grown. And it is real love behind the performance. It is real care. But your children are not just receiving your love. They are receiving the curated face delivering the love. And they are absorbing in their bodies the same lesson you absorbed in yours. That love comes through a face. And the face has to be a particular shape for the love to be delivered. And quietly, without any of you consciously choosing it, the mask contract is being passed from your body to theirs. The lineage of the curated face continues. Now look at the platform. The thing the boy in the volatile house could never have anticipated. The phone, the feed, the platforms, the endless mirror of public-facing identity. The charismatic self in shadow lives in a paradise designed specifically to keep him captive. Every platform he touches rewards him for the curated face. Every metric measures the performance. Every notification is a small dose of validation for the brand. Every algorithm has learned with terrifying precision which version of him to promote. And he has come to know himself through the metrics. This is the most precise diagnosis of the modern wound. He knows the engagement rate of the man he is presenting. He knows the like-to-impression ratio of his various postures. He knows which face the audience prefers, broken down by week, month, quarter, and he is increasingly only producing the faces that perform. This is no longer adjustment. This is industrial production. He is a small factory generating the most engageable version of himself for the algorithm's consumption. And the algorithm is in turn training him on which kind of him to manufacture next. The loop has closed. He is no longer the actor. He is the merchandise. And here is the most disturbing part. He is not even unhappy about it most of the time. Because the loop is producing rewards. The metrics are climbing. The income is real. The reputation is real. The influence is real. And every reward strengthens the contract. Until the moments alone. Until the nights like this one. Until the times when the platforms have closed and the rooms have emptied and the only person in the room is the man inside the costume. And he discovers that he has very little to say to himself. That his interior, when no one is watching, is strangely thin. That without the performance he is not sure what he is doing. That without the audience he does not quite know how to occupy his own life. This is the most subtle horror of the charismatic self in shadow. The interior has thinned because nothing has been allowed to grow there in years. The curated face needs all the resources. The brand needs all the bandwidth. The platform needs all the production capacity, and the inner life of the man underneath, the unphotographed, unedited, unrewarded inner life, has not been watered in a long time. So you sit alone in a room and you are not sure what to do. You reach for the phone. You scroll. You consume someone else's curated face for a while. You go to bed. You wake up. You produce the face again. And the man underneath gets quieter and quieter and quieter until you cannot tell anymore whether he is still down there at all. And here is the deepest cost. The disorientation that comes when the brand starts to crack. Because brands always crack eventually. A scandal, a bad post, a misjudged comment, a career setback, a relationship that publicly fails, a health crisis that interrupts the production, a moment when the rooms turn against you, and when the brand cracks, the man inside the brand has nowhere to land. Because he has been so identified with the curated face for so long that the cracking of the face feels like the ending of him. This is why so many highly charismatic men collapse so dramatically when their public image fails. It is not just embarrassment. It is ontological terror. They genuinely do not know who they are without the costume. And in the absence of the costume, they discover the man underneath has not been maintained. The interior is sparse. The unperformed self has very little life of its own. And so the loss of the curated face produces something close to a death. Not because the brand was their identity, but because they have left no other identity to fall back on. This is the warning the witness wants you to hear tonight. You are not at the cracking point yet, but the body knows it is coming. The body has been registering for years the thinness of the man inside the brand. The body has been registering the exhaustion of producing a self for a hungry public. The body has been registering the strange grief of being loved for a performance. And the body is asking in its quiet, persistent way, when are you going to come home to the man underneath? Not in dramatic collapse. Not in scandal, not in burnout, by choice. While there is still time to find him in good condition. And here is one more cost we have to name before the protocol. You have begun to mistrust the people who praise you. This is the secret loneliness no one talks about. You sit in a room of people who admire you. You receive compliments. You absorb the warm gaze of an audience. And underneath the receiving, a small voice says, "They do not know me. They love the performance. If they met what is underneath, would they still be here?" And the answer you have privately given yourself for years is no. That belief is the deepest wound of the charismatic self in shadow, not the performance itself. The conviction that the real you is unlovable, the conviction that the rooms would empty if they ever saw the boy in the basement, the conviction that your gift is contingent on the costume, and that the unedited man underneath is in fact a disappointment. This is the lie the mass contract has been telling you for 40 years. And the cost of believing it is that you have not allowed anyone, including yourself, to test it. The man in the basement has not been brought upstairs in so long that you do not actually know what would happen if he were. You are guessing that the rooms would reject him. You are guessing that your wife would leave. You are guessing that the audience would lose interest. You are guessing that you would lose everything the curated face has earned. You are guessing and you are guessing through the eyes of a small boy who once made a face and was told to put it away. That boy is not a reliable witness to what an adult man's authentic presence would actually produce in the world. The adult man has never run the experiment. And tonight, in the honest dark, the witness is going to suggest that it is time. Not in one dramatic unveiling, not in a confessional post, not in a public meltdown that destroys the brand all at once. In small, deliberate, somatic increments, in the breath that finally relaxes the jaw, in the sentence spoken to one trusted person that the brand would not have permitted, in the moment of unguarded laughter that does not match the brand's tone, in the embarrassing admission to your spouse that you have spent a decade editing out, in the small public misstep allowed to stand without immediate correction. The boy comes upstairs by inches, not by miles. That is the work of part 4. But before we get there, sit with this one final realization. The most charismatic moment of your life is going to come from the day you allowed yourself to be slightly less curated than usual in front of someone whose opinion mattered, and the room did not collapse. The audience did not flee. Something the audience had been quietly starving for. The presence of an actual human being underneath the brand arrived in the room for the first time in years. And the rooms have always recognized that. Always. The presence beneath the performance is the thing the brand has been imitating. The real face is the original, of which the curated face is the copy. And the world has always loved the original more than the copy. You have just never let it choose. And tonight the choice is finally beginning to be offered. So let us begin the work. Not the thinking. The work. Because the witness has shown you the costume. The witness has shown you the boy in the basement whose real face was first rejected. The witness has shown you every room you walked through tonight wearing a self that was not entirely you. And seeing is not enough. You have seen yourself before. You have read the books on authenticity. You have watched the talks on showing up as your real self. You have absorbed the frameworks for vulnerability, and the costume did not come off. Because the mask contract was not signed in your mind. It was signed in your body, in the jaw that learned to hold the smile, in the cheeks that learned to perform the expression, in the chest that learned to deliver lines that were close to true but not quite his, in the boy who learned very early that his real face was an inconvenience to the rooms that were supposed to love him. And a contract signed in the body can only be rewritten in the body. So tonight we are not going to attempt one dramatic act of authenticity. We are going to perform an initiation, the slowest one in the castle, because the boy in the basement has been hidden for 40 years, and you cannot bring him upstairs in a single night without scaring him back underneath the floorboards. he comes up by inches, not by miles. That is the entire principle of the protocol. And the protocol has 3 movements. The first is called unlocking the face. The second is called the one unbranded sentence. The third is called the trusted witness. Each one is a small somatic act that begins to dismantle the costume without destroying the life the costume built. Start with the first, unlocking the face. This is the most intimate work in the protocol because the face is where the costume lives. You are going to take 3 minutes tomorrow or tonight if you want to begin right now. 3 minutes alone, with no mirror, with no camera, with no audience real or imagined. And you are going to do something almost no adult man ever does. You are going to let your face go, not deliberately relax it, not arrange it into a meditative expression, not configure it into the calm look you have seen in spiritual photographs. Let it go. Allow the jaw to drop slightly. Not for any reason. Just because the muscles are tired and you are giving them permission to be tired. Allow the cheeks to sag. Allow the muscles around the mouth to forget their job. Allow the forehead to abandon its arrangement. Allow the eyebrows to land wherever gravity wants them. Allow your face to be the face it would be if no one had ever taught it to perform. This is going to feel strange. The first thing you will feel is how unfamiliar your face is when it is not being shaped. You may not even recognize the shape of it from the inside. The face that comes through when you stop arranging it is the face the boy in the basement has been wearing quietly, privately, for 40 years. And it has been waiting for you to remember it. There may be sadness in it. There may be tiredness in it. There may be a softness in it that has nothing to do with the carefully softened version of softness you have produced for the world. There may be a quality you have not seen in your own face since you were small. Stay with it. 3 minutes, just 3. Do not perform anything on top of the bare face. Do not improve it. Do not optimize it. Do not turn this into another project for the brand. Just allow the face to be itself. This is the first time in years that your face has been allowed to exist without an audience. And the body will register the difference. The jaw will begin to release tension it has been holding since the morning. The cheeks will soften in a way that has nothing to do with deliberate relaxation. The eyes, even closed, will begin to lose the forward pressure of the watcher. The face will begin to settle into its own true topography. And the boy in the basement will feel it. He will feel his face appearing again on the front of the man he became. For the first time in decades, this 3-minute practice done daily begins to dismantle the somatic foundation of the curated face. Because the curated face is not just a habit. It is a chronic muscular pattern, and chronic muscular patterns only change through repeated permission to release. Now, the second movement, the one unbranded sentence. This one happens in the world. Once a day, you are going to speak one sentence to another human being that the brand would not have permitted. Not a dramatic confession, not a meltdown, not a public renunciation of who you have been. One small sentence. A sentence the curated face would have edited out. The boring truth instead of the polished story. I am actually tired today. Not, I am doing great. I do not know what I think about that yet. Not, here is my carefully developed 3-point position. I am not sure I agree with you. Not, that is an interesting perspective. That made me feel something I do not have words for yet. Not, that was a wonderful conversation. I missed something I cannot name. Not, I am exactly where I want to be. One sentence a day. A small true thing, said out loud, to a real person, and you do not soften it after. This is the part that will be hard. The brand will immediately want to follow up with a correction, a joke that diffuses the moment, a clarification that protects your image, a retraction that walks the sentence back, a pivot to safer ground. Do not let it. Let the unbranded sentence stand in the air, even if it is uncomfortable, even if the room shifts, even if the other person does not know what to do with it. Stand in the silence after the sentence. Notice what happens in your body. The heat will rise. The chest will tighten. The voice in you that has been editing for 40 years will panic. You will feel certain you have just damaged something. You will feel certain the room is now thinking less of you. You will feel an almost overwhelming urge to perform the brand on top of the sentence to repair it. Do not repair it. Let it stand. And watch what actually happens. Almost always it is not what the brand predicted. Almost always the other person leans in. Almost always something in the room shifts toward you rather than away from you. Almost always the unbranded sentence delivers a quiet kind of intimacy that the curated face has never been able to produce. Because what you do not realize is that the people around you have been quietly starving for the unbranded sentence too. They have been wearing their own curated faces in every room they walk through. They have been performing their own versions of competence and confidence and contentment. They have been longing for someone to break the spell first. And every time you offer one unbranded sentence, you give the other person permission to step out of their own costume for a moment. This is the most underestimated form of leadership in modern life. Not performance. Permission the permission to be human, modeled in real time by a man whose brand could have prevented him from doing it, and the rooms will love him for it more than they ever loved the costume. That is the secret the mask contract has been hiding from you for decades. Now the third movement, the trusted witness. This is the deepest of the three. You are going to choose one person in your life. Only one. Not all of them at once. You cannot afford to unmask in front of everyone simultaneously, and the boy in the basement is not ready for that. One trusted person, maybe your spouse, maybe a single close friend who has earned the right, maybe a therapist if you have one, maybe a brother, a mentor, a spiritual director who has known you for decades. One person you trust to receive a slightly more unedited version of you. And in the next 30 days, you are going to begin the slow, controlled introduction of the boy in the basement to that one person by inches. You tell them one true thing. One thing you have been editing out of every conversation with them for years. Maybe a small fear, maybe a hidden grief, maybe an opinion you have been performing the opposite of, maybe a confession about the exhaustion of being you, maybe a question you have not been allowed to ask out loud. And you watch what the trusted witness does with it. Almost always they will receive it. Almost always they will move closer. Almost always they will quietly offer you something of their own basement in return. And then the next week or the next month, you let them see another inch. This is how the boy in the basement is brought upstairs. Not by a public unveiling, by a slow, witnessed introduction to one trusted human at a time. And every time he is met with a real reception, he gathers another piece of evidence that the mask contract was lying to him. That the real face is not in fact unlovable, that the unedited self is not a disappointment, that the world does not in fact only want the costume. The boy stops believing the lie one received truth at a time, and as he stops believing it, he begins to walk up the stairs. Slowly, cautiously, but upward. And here is the sovereign contract for the charismatic self. Say it now. Not from the curated face. From the unguarded face, the 3-minute practice has begun to uncover. From the chest beneath the brand, from the boy who is finally being introduced upstairs, my presence is the gift, not my performance. My presence, the unedited fact of me available in the room, the unbranded sentence allowed to stand, the unmanaged face allowed to be visible, the boy in the basement allowed to come upstairs 1 inch at a time. I will offer my presence first, and let the performance, if it comes, serve the presence, not the other way around. This is the new contract. signed not in your mind, signed in the face muscles that are finally being allowed to land, signed in the chest that is finally being allowed to speak its own sentences, signed in the small, careful relationships in which the boy is finally being allowed to come upstairs. And every face you let go of, every unbranded sentence you let stand, every inch of basement boy you introduce to a trusted witness is another signature on the contract. And here is the deepest gift this work returns to you. Your charisma comes back. The real charisma, the one that originated in the boy underneath the costume, because the gift was never the brand's. The gift was always his. And the rooms will feel it almost immediately. The audiences, the friends, the spouse, the children, the strangers in elevators. They will feel that something has come back online, that the man they have been receiving for years has finally arrived. Not the costume, the man, and the rooms will lean in because the rooms have always known the difference. They were just too polite to say. So let the face settle now. You have done the harder thing, or you have seen for the first time what the harder thing will be. Either way, something in you has shifted tonight. Let your breath find its own pace. Slower now, deeper than it was when we began. Feel the weight of your body against the bed. The simple gravity of being here, held by the earth. At rest, the costume is on the floor. Let it stay there. For a little while longer, the jaw has softened, the cheeks have forgotten their work. The eyes, even closed, have stopped scanning for an audience. The chest has loosened around the words it was no longer pretending to mean. And the face on the front of you right now is closer to the boy's face than it has been in years. Notice that. Notice how unfamiliar it feels. How quiet. How undefended. There is no audience here. No camera. No mirror. No platform measuring the performance. No imagined observer installed in the back of the skull. Just you, the unedited fact of you, lying in the dark, breathing. Stay with this for a moment, because the boy in the basement is up the stairs tonight. He has not come all the way into the room. He is not standing fully in the doorway yet. But he has heard your footsteps coming down to find him for the first time in his long life. And he has begun the slow walk up. He is tired. He has been waiting 40 years. But he is not afraid anymore, because tonight, for the first time, he heard the man whose body he lives in say something he has waited his whole life to hear. You are the source of the gift. not the costume. You, and he can sleep now, knowing that the man upstairs has finally remembered which one of you is the original and which one is the copy. And here is what you need to understand before this night folds into sleep. What we entered tonight was only one room, the Charismatic Self. One chamber of the castle. One counterfeit kingdom in a much larger house. And the castle is bigger than this room, because behind one final door, one more self is still waiting. The transcendent self. The one who calls his control holiness. The one who has used the language of light to bypass the work of the shadow. The one whose performance has migrated into the spiritual register where it is hardest to see. And behind the doors you have already opened, the passive self, the codependent self, the insecure self, the reckless self, the intuitive self. 7 rooms, 7 selves, 7 thrones, each one waiting for the king to return. You can begin to take the costume off tonight. You can taste the unguarded face. You can begin to speak one unbranded sentence a day. You can sign the sovereign contract with your own breath. But if the other rooms remain dark, if the other selves remain exiled, the curated face will eventually be picked up off the floor, because a counterfeit kingdom does not need every room to rule you. It only needs the one you refuse to enter. You can begin to let the boy upstairs, and still abandon your throne in your relationships. You can begin to offer your presence instead of your performance, and still brace all night against a danger that never comes. The throne in one room means nothing, while the other rooms still belong to the exiles. This is why awareness was never enough. This is why understanding one night cannot rebuild a kingdom. The Matrix will gladly let you understand your performance, so long as you never map the rest of the castle. It will gladly let you have one unmasked evening, so long as you wake tomorrow and forget there is one more door, and behind it the most subtle counterfeit of all. Do not forget. This is why I wrote Awaken Your Shadow, not as self-help, not as another book to understand and place on the shelf. I wrote it as the map of the entire castle, a descent through all 7 selves, a torch to carry into every darkened room, where a part of you was left waiting. Somatic shadow work, the methodology you have tasted tonight, is the tool you will find inside its pages. A practice for the body, not just the mind. A way of meeting each room as the man you actually are, not the role each room was conscripted into. It is not information. It is a mirror, and it is a weapon of reclamation, not to wield against the world, but to cut the contracts off the selves you buried and call them one by one back to the throne. So when the light returns, when this night has passed and the noise of the world rises again, pick it up, read it slowly, not like information, like a mirror. Read it the way a man walks back through his own castle, opening doors he has kept locked for 40 years, torch held high, refusing to look away. But that is tomorrow. Tonight, you have done enough. Tonight, you let the costume fall. Tonight, you let the face go bare. Tonight, you let the witness show you the boy in the basement without flinching. And tonight, the man underneath the brand has finally been believed. So let me speak a blessing over you now. A blessing for the uncrowned king who has been performing his way through every room since he was a small boy who learned that his real face was inconvenient. Listen to it with your body, not your mind. The body, that tired animal, that faithful beast, is dismissed. The jaw unclenches, the hand opens, the mask falls, and all the curated faces that tried to become eternal find the one door they cannot follow you through. Blessed is the face that lands in its own true topography. Blessed is the mask that falls. Blessed is the hand that finally opens after decades of holding the costume in place. Blessed is the cheek that softens. Blessed is the jaw that lets go. Blessed is the unbranded sentence allowed to stand in the air. Blessed is the boy who has finally been heard upstairs. Blessed is the trusted witness who receives the real face without flinching. Blessed is the man who refuses tonight to produce one more polished version of himself for the imaginary audience installed inside his skull. Blessed is the final gate where the soul walks on, unburdened by the names it was never meant to wear forever. The polished one, the brand, the man everyone loves, the curated face. You can set those names down now. You are not required to perform yourself in order to be loved. You are not required to keep the audience installed in your own skull in order to be allowed to be a man. You are not required to deliver the brand at every dinner, every meeting, every quiet moment alone in front of a mirror. Let the hand stay open. Let the mask stay where it has fallen. Let the face be the face it actually is. Let the breath go slow. The boy is upstairs. The costume is on the floor. The king has come home to his own face. And the world does not fear your charisma. It fears the moment your charisma stops needing to perform in order to be felt. Tonight, the real face was received. In a moment, the next episode will begin playing automatically. Silence your inner critic, somatic shadow work for the transcendent self, the man who keeps climbing toward a love he already has. Stay and let it play. And hear this. One night brings the boy upstairs. Walking through the world barefaced is a practice. In Awaken Your Shadow, I name the devil who sold you the mask, and I give you the daily work that makes your real voice stronger than your brand. The audiobook is linked below this video. Click that link now to begin your journey, or continue listening for the next video in this series.